Before we begin today's episode, we wanted to offer up a content warning. As most longtime Buffy fans know, this episode includes a scene containing attempted sexual assault. We know that this can be a very triggering topic for many listeners, and we don't want to have our typical humor make light of such an important issue.
The scene in question will be at timestamp 54 minutes and 41 seconds.
That will offer you the opportunity to skip ahead through that scene if you want to not listen to that triggering material. That being said, we will try to keep all of our commentary regarding that scene within that timestamp. We'll likely not be very successful, and we will completely understand if you wish to skip this episode of the podcast for your own well-being. Now on to the episode.
Look, if we're going to do this, let's do it properly.
You want to look at the money? I find it always calms me. I'm not the key. I don't open anything anymore.
Osiris, here lies the warrior of the people. Let her cross over!
This is deep stuff, Willow. We're talking about raising the dead.
You play for kittens?
Cup of tea. Almost got shagged. Cup of tea.
It's fucking
I
fantastic.
love that sound.
Arg.
Hello! Welcome to Beer with Buffy. I'm Rex.
I'm Josh.
And on today's episode of Beer with Buffy, we are reviewing Season 6, Episode 19, Seeing Red.
Yeah.
Yes.
What could possibly go wrong?
Literally everything.
Boy, you're not wrong. Boy, howdy. Well, Rex, I think it's time for one of us to fuck-a-doodle-doo.
Oh, right. That's supposed to be my job, because I did the opening.
Uh-huh.
I'm not used to this new system yet.
We've only been doing it for a couple of years.
Well, not with the opening and the Patreon supporters being all rolled into one.
We didn't.
It's very confusing.
We didn't make it official until recently, but we have been doing it that way. But whatever. Fuck-a-doodle-doo, Rex.
Okay. We have a Patreon, and the supporters that we have on there who like to give us their hard-earned money for doing this silly, silly little show.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is very weird. We love you very much. Our executive doodle-doos, Krista Bear, Joshua, what are you doing, Joshua? Tinkadoodle-doo, Elon the non-binary anti-fascist Bond, Tracy Kidd, Monica Fonseca Excelentes, T. Suba Spike, Audrey Two French Last Names, check out my band Cryptids, Nathan Lancy, Dulcinea, Rachel Doodle-doo, Seal Hole Emporium, Mr. Tabalicious, Sandra Craig, Jay Sommer, Karen Moon, Pat Likes Turtles again, Two-Tone Magister of Many Monikers Gnome, Father Defenestrato, Kelly MC, Jesse Rain, Alex from the Heart, and Carrie Phillips. Thank you so much. Without you, this show literally is not possible.
Yeah, I know it, right? Hey, guys, iTunes exists.
Yes.
I'm as mad about it as you are. But since they own basically as much as Disney, review us on there.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I know it's not easy. I have mad respect for anybody that is an Android user who can figure out how to do that.
Yes, it's a pain in the ass if you are not an actual iTunes user, but we very much appreciate any review we have on there. For some reason, iTunes reviews just dominate the field when it comes to podcasts.
Yeah, they just do it. Or is that Nike? I forget.
I guess it makes a certain amount of sense. They were the first platform for podcasts.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's called a podcast.
Yeah,
You're right.
Because of the iPod.
Yeah.
So, that's something.
Blah. All right. Well, hey, a little housekeeping. I hope there's not too much ambient background noise. If there is, I apologize, but it is sweltering in my place of employment. Those bastards haven't turned on the air conditioning yet this year.
Goddamn monsters.
Yeah, they are, in fact. So I'm going to try to edit it out with fancy processing stuff. If not, I hope it doesn't put you to sleep with the white noise. Because that's my job, God damn it.
Edit this part out, but I just want to mention it because it's hilarious. Attempted to use Beer with Buffy to sleep last night during their sleep study.
Okay.
And their complaint was that you were too funny for them to fall asleep.
That was my first thought. I was like, nobody's going to be able to sleep through my ridiculous shit. You have to be joking.
They were listening to the podcast because they were feeling like they missed me and they wanted to hear my voice.
Oh, that's special.
And you were keeping them awake by being too fucking funny.
I'm totally keeping this in. Unless you don't want people knowing that at a sleep study.
Also, I'm trying to avoid putting their name in the podcast.
Yeah, it's better that way. I can it out.
As a, professional therapist.
Yeah. Oh, I'll the shit out of that name. I love a good chance to do some
Well, now that we're all through all that bullshit, it's time for a mom synopsis.
I'm even going to so it's going to sound like something way worse.
Nice.
Yeah. Joshua! What are you doing, Joshua? Well, I can tell you what I'm not doing is eating a whole-ass bucket of chicken wings and watching my skin folds flap around. That's very specific, Joshua. Yes, well, it's the best way to be supportive of my toxic friends, you see. I don't get it. That's because you're not my friend. Because I'm your mother, right, Joshua? Right, Joshua? Yep. You are irreplaceable. Yep. Whose ears are you replacing, Joshua? You better not be trying to replace my ears. These are my favorite ears, Joshua. What is wrong with you, Joshua? Well, it all started one fateful day. You were there. I think Dad was, too. Wait, do you mean our vacation to the amusement park when you were 4? Was it that haunted house? I knew it. I told your father you were too delicate a boy. It's a good thing we killed him together canonically on Christmas a couple of years ago, Joshua. Do you remember that? Wasn't that a great time, Joshua? I mean, the amusement park was traumatizing, but no, damn it. I mean, when I was conceived and subsequently born and raised by you two blithering dolts. Oh, that didn't happen, Joshua. I don't remember that. You're talking crazy, Joshua. I'm going to go get a bucket of chicken wings, and can you bring me some? And no, I'm not sharing. Well, that's just rude, Joshua. Yes. Yes, it is. Well, fine. I'm glad we agree on something. Because today on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as per last episode, Willow and Tara are still in bed for completely non-sexual homoerotic escapades. I'm sorry, what's that? Sorry, I'm getting a note from the back room. Uh-huh. Right, but yeah. I mean, oh, so I misspoke. They are in bed for pro-sexual, heavily homoerotic sexcapades. Shit, sorry, getting another note. What do you mean don't make it weird? Okay, fine. They're in love, and love is love, man. It also makes squinchy noises no matter who you're with, so it's fine. Anyway, Buffy is still looking for the trio. Dawn gives Tara and Willow some alone time and stops off to guilt-trip Spike about hooking up with Anya last episode. Meanwhile, Warren and his minions are stealing ultra-powerful ancient demon orbs. Buffy and Xander are arguing over stupid shit. Anya's doing a bad job of being a vengeance demon and talking any poor woman's ear off who will listen. Spike tries to apologize to Buffy, and the scene goes south from there. Xander finds Warren and the others causing trouble at the Bronze, and then reports back to Buffy, where Willow and Tara have discovered a large quantity of data on Warren's plans. So Buffy heads out to foil them. She kicks Warren's ass, but he escapes, leaving Andrew and Jonathan in the lurch. Next day, Xander and Buffy apologize to each other in the backyard, while Willow and Tara are getting dressed upstairs, and Warren drops by to murder everyone. The end.
He does, in fact, drop by to murder everyone.
He certainly tried, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, well...
Sorry, spoiler alert. So that's today's episode.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to our content warning scene. Oh, well. I guess we'll have to do the whole podcast now.
Yeah.
Because you don't lie, cheat, or steal, or manipulate. That's an idea you would have. Willow brought me back. Willow brought me back. I just lay there. A little post-mortem comedy. I'm going to marry Bob Dole and raise penguins. Spike, you have to move on. To move. So much easier to talk to the way he wanted to kill me. You like Slug? Go
open on I was going to say Willow's bedroom, but it's Willow and Tara's bedroom now. Again. They're cuddling in bed. I like the line here where Willow's like, oh, it was so great without magic. And Tara's response is, oh, there was plenty of magic.
Oh, there was plenty of magic. Oh, yeah. All for Mo. I mean, all for Tara. And Willow.
Yes.
There was plenty for Willow, probably.
Yes.
But the non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're laying in bed, getting their retroactive payback of touch starvation paid in full.
Yeah.
Damn it. After what I can only assume was a wild, fantastic night of amazing full-on backdoor action. They seem like the type. Tara said to Willow, "Do you want me to do the sex to you?" And Willow was like, "Only if I can do the sex to you." And, but they said that with their eyes and their vaginas. Mostly their vaginas. Oh, and their asses. And a tool bag. They need it.
Moving on.
Women! I don't see them very
Willow
often.
expresses...
I obviously don't know any or talk to any either.
Willow expresses concern that Buffy had not returned last night. Apparently, in between episodes, they had come home and Buffy was there briefly and then left and has been gone all night. And now it's 10 in the morning. She is still not home.
Mm-hmm.
But then Willow expresses concern that something might be going on between Spike and Buffy.
But certainly not sex. Oh, God, no. That's ridiculous.
To which immediately Tara just outs Spike and Buffy and says, no, they're fucking.
Yeah, but it's sex.
Yeah,
it's definitely
it's
sex. It's definitely the sex. Oh, she draws up a little diagram, uses her fingers to make crude but accurate gestures. She even gets out the Barbie dolls and says, "Wait a second, why don't I just fuck you again and narrate?"
Wow.
Hey, they're pulling out all the stops. Why shouldn't I? I'm highly inappropriate. If you can't tell this episode, damn. Woof.
Willow expresses worry about, why wouldn't Buffy have told her about Spike? And then Tara points out that, well, maybe she didn't tell you because of the face you're making right now.
Oh, right.
The one of a lot of outrageous concern.
And judgment.
Yeah.
Or it can be interpreted as judgment,
Yes,
anyway.
yes.
Certainly, I think a lot of us have sensitivities to that.
Yes. Then Willow goes out into the hall to check on whether or not Buffy actually came home, and maybe they just didn't hear Buffy return home with all the loud fucking they were doing.
Right? Waking up the whole neighborhood.
Yeah. And then somehow Dawn comes out, not knowing that Tara is already there.
Yeah. I have words.
And she expresses worry that Buffy was not home yet.
Mm-hmm.
Also expresses worry and concern about Xander's well-being given the whole fuckery that has happened.
And she's worried that Spike's not going to be around anymore. And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Spike's always been super nice to her. Even when he's stern with her, it's very obvious that it's only because he cares. Or it appears that way, at least.
Dawn is the only character that Spike has been 100% consistent with.
Right? Yeah.
Well, actually, Dawn and Clem are the only two characters that Spike has been 100% consistent with.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's been completely consistent with Clem.
Yeah, I thought that was going to change this episode, but it didn't.
No, it didn't.
I really thought Clem was in danger for a moment, but we're not nearly there yet.
That's way at the end.
So,
but my favorite part about this whole scene is while talking to Willow, Tara steps out of the bedroom in just a blanket.
Not but a blanket.
To ask if Buffy is home. And of course, this makes Dawn go squee.
Way too excited. and then offers to enable them to fuck as loud as they want by watching TV in the basement super loud. I mean...
With headphones.
If whatever they did last night didn't wake Dawn up...
Right.
Then Dawn's either deaf or they're only into, really quiet, prissy stuff, like flowers and oils or something.
No, two witches, they're probably kinky.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. God damn it. Dawn wants you to ride her like a pony, and you need to give that girl her wish, all right?
No, Josh.
What?
She is too young for that joke.
I'm not saying Dawn's going to be in the room. Dawn wants them to hook up. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. The wording, though, that you used.
Yes, sorry. What Dawn wants her to ride that... Okay, I see it now. I see it now. Yeah, no.
She is
not
just
going there.
really, really excited about their romance.
Yeah, she's happy and pure, and I need to shut up.
Yes.
All right.
Cut to Buffy kicking in the door. God, it's so satisfying.
Yeah, have you done that yet, Rex?
No. I want to kick in a door.
I'm so disappointed in you.
No one is disappointed in it as I am, okay? I am 41 and I have yet to kick in a door. I really want to kick in a door.
No, I'm fairly certain I'm slightly more disappointed in you than you are.
I mean...
Just to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not out of legitimate concern for you, but...
You are the sort to be judgmental out of the humor of it.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, you know...
Anyway, so Buffy kicks in the door at the trio's lair, or rather their ex-lair.
Yes.
And nobody here but us chickens. Oh, and also a bunch of circular saw blades like in Indiana Jones on The Last Crusade. Good luck, bitch.
Can I just say, I'm actually rather impressed with the setup of all these saw blades.
Right, I thought it was going to be really lame at first. Like it was just going to be one that goes across the room and she just kind of watches it go.
Yeah, no, it's...
Maybe steps aside. But then it got real badass for a second.
They really outdid themselves with the saw blades.
They kind of did. She actually had to do some slick moves to get out of there alive.
Actually, no, it makes perfect sense because the most competent of the three of them is Warren, and he's the mechanic.
The engineer.
He's the engineer, mechanic, and he's the one who probably built the saw blade setup, and he's the most competent of them. Of the three.
I was trying to think, what exactly does Jonathan do? I know he was setting up that spell.
Magic.
Last episode.
He's the mage.
He's the magic guy. Okay.
And Andrew summons things.
Okay, so they're both mages, just different kinds of mages.
Yeah.
Lame. No party needs two mages. Maybe they do. I don't know.
Hey, I've played in all mage parties before, and it was fun.
Okay.
But yeah, she escapes the saw blades. Luckily, she is able to grab a few handfuls of documents and CDs and such.
Yeah.
But everything else is just destroyed.
The saws ruined her fucking jacket.
Yeah.
Now I'm pissed. Now these guys just need to go.
Yep.
That jacket was not cheap. I mean, Dawn could just steal her another one probably.
Yeah. But I think Dawn's trying to not do that.
Yeah, trying. But if she had Buffy's permission,
right,
it'd be just fine.
Opening credits.
We're in the living room where Tara and Willow come down the stairs. They are still just all over each other as
they are cute this whole fucking episode.
Absolutely.
Well, not this whole episode.
Well, there's a moment where it stops being cute.
Yeah.
And they're like, sorry, we'll stop. And Dawn's like, you better not. I have no jokes about that. Moving on. Buffy is clearly pleased also. They ask about the trio. Buffy gives us the cliff notes.
Yes.
They suggest maybe we get Xander or Spike or Anya to help. And it's like, oof, ixnay on the literally anybody that's not in the room right now. Like, not even Giles. They didn't even mention Giles because he's so obviously out of the game.
Right.
But, like, the only person that was not in the room that they didn't bring up that they maybe could have mentioned was Clem or Anya's friend. What's her name? And they're just not close enough with them. They're not Scoobies, so.
Right. No, because they're like, should we call Xander? No, we shouldn't call Xander. What about Spike? No, we shouldn't call Spike.
He's not going to be coming around much.
What about Anya? No, we shouldn't call Anya.
She's not feeling real researchy. Xander also, he's kind of being the broody type right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dawn seems upset about all this because of course she is. She's good at that.
I mean,
someone needs to.
But think about it, from the perspective of a 16-year-old girl, like, all of this drama, her world is kind of broken up.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is going to be pretty close to when her mother died as far as trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
Very upsetting.
Mm-hmm. So
then we cut to a bar, I'm assuming it's a bar, where Anya is being her demony self, but not well.
Not very well.
Not well at all.
She's being a vengeance demon badly. She's
so much so that she specifically cuts off the woman just as the woman is about to wish something horrible on her man.
Yeah, she's really more just using strangers as therapists now.
Yes.
Just glomming on. She lets this poor woman glom onto her and then flips it around.
Yeah.
She's like, oh no, I'll show you a glom. And the look on this poor woman's face, she was like, this is supposed to be about me. Starts making wishes.
It really gives me the energy of, like, she's going out there to find these people who, like, have bad exes and whatnot, and being like, oh, you think yours is bad?
Mm-hmm. Well, what's her name? Her friend. I wish I could remember her name.
Halfrek.
Halfrek, thank you. Excellent. Yeah. She pretty much canonically established that vengeance demons can sense empathically the pain from miles away, especially if it's really strong pain.
Right.
Because she said that she could hear, sense Dawn screaming from throughout the city.
Yes.
So they just have a second sense for this.
But yeah, Anya is not doing a great job as a vengeance demon. That's gonna bite her in the ass, I think.
But this woman that's complaining about her boyfriend or her husband or whoever who cheated on her with her fat, ugly sister, I'm like, well, maybe it's because you're superficial and judgy.
Right?
To your sister.
Yeah.
Ever think of that? Maybe she's the one who needs to be done vengeance on. I don't know. Doop-a-doop-a-doo.
Then we cut to the trio where they're in a cave and they capture a demon, I guess. Cool. Good on them. Andrew complains about having to be bait.
Of course he does. That's all Andrew does is whine.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
if he hadn't really put himself in this whole situation because he's pathetic, I wouldn't use the word whining because I hate it when people do that when it's a legitimate complaint.
Yes.
But Andrew is whining.
He's whining because specifically, A, he's here of his own volition.
Yeah.
And B, he is actively leaning into the shittiness of the situation to make it worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the dynamics of an abusive parent or partner that's going on here, and he's picked Andrew as his favorite, but Andrew's also clearly in love with him, or thinks he is anyway.
Oh, yeah.
With Warren.
Yes.
It just keeps getting more icky. And not at all because that would be gay, but just because they're icky.
Yes.
I was being patient, but it took too long.
I was a demon.
I was
A demon.
You're stupid. You're stupid. This whole marriage thing, crazy.
Zombies don't eat brains.
Why are you torturing me? People think that way. I didn't ask to be all crazy.
Cut to Spike's lair, where he's pouring himself some blood cocktail, if you will.
Oh,
some
yes.
blood and some alcohol in it.
Sure, I may.
From off-screen, Dawn asks, does it help? I actually thought it was Buffy at first.
I did too.
My brain didn't register that it was Dawn's voice.
Yeah. Well, they look so much alike. She was perfectly cast.
Yeah. Of course, Spike's answer to does it help to doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And that's about the best that the alcohol can get.
Right. It can numb you for a minute, but you're paying for it later.
Yeah.
Maybe not as a vampire as much.
Right.
Quote of the day here. Dawn says, I figured Tara and Willow might want some time to, Spike says, so the birds are flying again, eh? Ain't love grand. And it's only because I thought it was a good turn of phrase. And had it been delivered by any lesser actor than James Marsters, it would have sounded homophobic.
Yeah.
But he actually made it sound as if it had a sense of reverence to it.
Right. His whole delivery makes it come off as good for them. All love is awful. Fuck everyone.
Right.
Like, and not because, oh, fuck them, they're gay. Just fuck them, they're in love. Fuck everyone who's in love.
You know, he's been around 250 years. He's seen everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You don't tell me there weren't gay people back then.
No one walks around with that bleach blonde hairdo without seeing some shit.
Yeah.
Some very gay shit.
Wow. Is that how
Think
that works?
about it. Think about how we see him in a flashback, how he is dressed in the 80s.
Right.
He is in the punk scene in the 80s. The punk scene in the 80s is very gay.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't realize.
The punk scene today is very gay.
Yeah, I knew that. I didn't realize it went back that far.
Oh, yeah.
Of course it did.
Dude, punks
Yeah, I saw Crocodile Dundee.
and metalheads, even back in the day when they first came about, was one of the most welcoming social groups in their day. Like,
Yeah, they're also pent up and angry. Of course, it makes perfect sense.
well, like, I know a few people.
And daddy issues.
I know a few people who have expressed to me that when they go to punk or metal shows, the more like hardcore punk and the more hardcore metal, the safer they feel. Because people in those communities don't fuck around with that shit.
Yeah.
If anything, punks have a long track record of having to put up with Nazis in their midst, so they don't fuck around with that shit.
Yeah.
And they call that out and they face that shit head on.
Nice.
So, especially even back in the 80s, those were safer groups because they were outcasts.
Right.
So yeah, I think Spike is totally, hardcore ally, given that he's a punk.
Makes good sense. So, Dawn comes out of the gate swinging. She wants to know if it was worth it, what he did with Anya. And this is when Spike learns for the first time that there was a camera in the magic box.
Yes.
I guess nobody's really talked to him since then, so it makes sense that he wouldn't know. Dawn asks Spike if he loves her, and Spike mistakenly starts answering about Anya, and thank fucking God. Right. Dawn catches it and clarifies, oh no, I mean Buffy, because I'd have thrown my fucking computer through the goddamn window if I'd had to watch this whole episode with Dawn stomping around thinking Spike never loved Buffy, and a bunch of bullshit drama ensues due to miscommunication that may or may not ever get resolved.
Yeah. They have enough fucking plot lines that involve miscommunication.
Yeah, I was like, no, you're not going to do the goddamn sitcom thing with this.
I do really appreciate the whole premise of this scene, by the way, is the fact that Dawn is going to stay the night at a friend's house solely to give privacy to Tara and Willow, and specifically, though, wanted to stop by Spike's to essentially go, what the fuck, at him, and then that's it. She doesn't really reprimand him. She just asks him a couple questions, and then is like, okay, fine, fuck you, bye.
Yeah, and he doesn't even really respond when she says, did you really love Buffy? But she takes it as a yes, his very broody silence. And then she's like, I don't know what happened between you two. And I'm going to stop you right there, Dawn, because if you don't know what happened, you don't get an opinion.
Yeah.
I get that she's upset. So I'm giving her that, and I'm going to tell you my theory on this whole interaction in a second. Dawn leaves saying, if you wanted to hurt Buffy, congratulations, it worked. And I'm like, God damn it, Dawn. You had to tell him just now that there was a camera in the magic box. You wouldn't have ever known otherwise that this happened between him and Anya, and they obviously didn't want it to get out. They didn't want anybody to know. Or I guess we'll never really know.
Right.
But that seems to be the case. So my theory is...
It's pretty easy to surmise about the way shit happened that it wasn't a planned thing. Like, it wasn't like... oh, he knows about the camera, he's gonna fuck around with Anya specifically so Buffy can find out and feel awful.
Yeah, it was a drunken, I feel bad hookup.
Yeah.
It means nothing.
It makes sense if Dawn doesn't grasp that that's how it happened, because for fuck's sake, she's 16.
Absolutely. And that's why I started catching myself saying, That's not the right way to review this episode with this podcast, because I'm just judging the character as if they're a real person doing a real thing.
Right.
So my theory is that this is a setup on the writer's part, or my theory was as I was watching it anyway. I don't think it really comes back into play, but I still find it interesting. My theory was Dawn is acting impulsively because she's upset, but Spike, being evil and also upset and confused because of Buffy, and now extra confused because he actually respects Dawn's opinion, even though she's a fucking fetus in comparison to him. But frankly, so's Buffy, but more mature fetus. Anyway, he's now going to act on the idea that he actually did something wrong, which for once he didn't yet.
Keyword yet.
Yeah, so just in regards to hooking up with Anya, didn't do shit wrong.
Right.
They were broken up.
Yeah.
They were as broken up as
they
it
were
gets.
They were not in a relationship. Anya and Xander weren't in a relationship. For all intents and purposes, Spike and Anya were two single people who boned.
Arguably, Anya did more wrong than Spike.
Yes.
But, you know, the hill I'm going to die on here is that, frankly, the goings-on of two ancient beings is no mortal's business.
Yeah, that's not a bad stance.
Like, they shouldn't be fucking around with these children anyway.
I have a pretty good guess as to the entire reason that this scene is in this episode. They wanted to have a scene where they set up Spike for his motivation for showing up at Buffy's later.
Oh, absolutely.
And to me, the way this scene is written is when he goes to Buffy's, he is going to Buffy's to basically say, I need to prove that I am in love with her.
Yes.
Not just to her, but to himself. Because this interaction here, I think he doesn't answer Dawn because he is feeling second thoughts about the situation, and he is unsure about what he is feeling.
Yeah.
And they needed some avenue for it to make sense to why he shows up later at Buffy's.
And I think it's brilliant.
I think
the way this pans out is super plausible.
Yes.
Spike would be feeling shitty about everything and be confused about whether he did anything wrong or not.
And as a character would specifically need something that would catalyze into causing him to take an action.
And this is pushing him
rather than just sitting there like a lump.
Yeah, it's pushing him over the edge.
Yes.
Which was easy to do because Dawn is, granted, ill-advisedly judging Spike because she feels bad and she's taking it out on him.
And part of it, though, is also he's already upset Buffy. He knows Buffy's upset with him.
Yeah.
But Dawn being upset with him is more than he can bear.
Yeah, he's got a... Yeah, because it's not about sex, never has been, never will be. So it's a much more pure kind of relationship that he has with Dawn.
Right.
But I still feel like we're treating him like he has... Like, he's grown so much since he's gotten that chip.
He has, but he's still evil.
He's still evil.
I still stand on the fact that he is not actually in love with Buffy. He thinks he is in love with Buffy. He is actually just extremely infatuated with Buffy. I think once he gets a soul, that infatuation can become love, but love is something that has to grow from infatuation.
Sure, I'm absolutely not arguing and never have that he is legitimately full-on in love with Buffy. It's always been a very toxic thing that started out with some kind of limerence.
Right.
And lust, which that's part of limerence.
Right.
And infatuation.
But anyway.
But I do think that some of his motivation is coming from a genuine place of growth since he's gotten the chip installed.
Yeah.
I think Xander is just a little bit wrong. He's not wrong, but he's just
a
little bit wrong that Spike would still be completely evil if he didn't have that chip. I think if he had the chip removed, I think there would be some change that stays with him.
I have thoughts on that just popped up, but I don't want to take any more time on this scene. I'm gonna have to make a fucking note to myself.
Do that
to talk about the chip part.
Talk about it after.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a thought about that.
All right. Well, cut to the trio's cave the second time.
Well, it's a different cave, apparently.
Sure.
And there's some sort of force field here, and apparently the only way they can get through this force field is by wearing the skin of one of these demons walking around in this place.
I mean, I feel like it's the same cave system.
And it might be that.
There were just a few twists and turns away from this portal.
But essentially, they have to get through this magical barrier, and the only thing that can go through this barrier are these demons. And they skinned the demon they caught earlier.
Or rather, he forced Jonathan to.
Yes.
Coerced.
And then he, of course, isn't even 100% certain that the skin of the demon is going to save Jonathan from the portal, as he demonstrates that it will annihilate anything, and by throwing a rock into it that just vaporizes.
Yeah.
And then he just shoves Jonathan through the portal, like, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah, you know, it really seems like they would have needed to seal the seams between his neck and his torso.
Really?
Because that part would have been bare skin touching the barrier, and he'd have come through, you know, missing a torso.
I think Warren was fully willing to be like, no, this will just get rid of Jonathan for me.
Oh, he was absolutely willing to make that risk, or to risk that make. You know what I mean?
Yes. But yeah,
that's a risk he's willing to take.
They have a moment where Warren and Andrew talk about the Jonathan situation. They're obviously planning to betray Jonathan. They talk about it within a short distance from Jonathan, and somehow Jonathan does not hear this. They aren't whispering.
No, they're really not. I assumed Jonathan had to walk off a fair distance to find whatever he finds.
You can see him.
Find the orbs.
You can see him through the barrier. He doesn't walk far.
The whole time?
Not the whole time, but part of it he's off screen, but he comes back through, and they're still talking about it when he walks back through.
He does have that meat suit over his head.
Yeah.
That probably dampened his hearing a bit.
I'm still a little bit bothered by the fact that...
That's a general trope in TV shows that always bothers me anyway. Yeah. So you're right.
Part of it bothers me because while I have plenty of issues with Jonathan, particularly Jonathan being part of the trio in the first fucking place, but he's not a dumb character.
No,
and I don't really feel like he would be the kind of character who would fall hook, line, sinker like this without realizing that something is up and they're going to betray him.
And he does know that something's up and he wants out.
Right. But he's still surprised at the end of the episode that they betrayed him. He's surprised when he sees the jetpacks.
Jonathan is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, probably just because he had no idea, not because he didn't think they would ever.
Yeah, fair.
Or maybe he thought they would ever, but didn't think it'd be so soon.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or right in front of his face.
Anyway, he gets through the portal just fine. They have now gotten the orbs of Nezla Khan.
Yeah, I forgot to write that down. Good catch.
Nezla Khan, and it gives the wielder of the orbs superpowers, super strength, and invincibility.
Yeah.
As Warren puts it, the works.
Mm-hmm. He grabs his balls, and he holds them, and I'm sorry, it's no small irony that Warren found a pair of balls this episode.
I think that the choice of them being two balls and the fact that he puts them in a pouch on his waist like a fanny pack, that is all on purpose.
The only thing they could have done to make it more on the nose would have been if he'd put it directly in the front of his waistline.
But it is very much like, no, these are his balls.
Yeah, 100%. It was his ball sack.
Yes.
It was his goddamn scrotum.
Yep.
Okay.
But he tests out the magic of the balls.
The orbs.
Yes, he tests out the magic of the orbs by killing one of the demons. Mm-hmm. And he's successful because they work.
Yeah, he somehow manages to snap its neck, even though it's one of those demons that doesn't have a neck. It's a face on a torso.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he kills the demon. Jonathan's like, that was so hot.
Right.
Like, okay, I think you all just need to come out of the closet.
They're going much heavier on Andrew being all about Warren.
It was Jonathan that said that.
Was it?
Yeah. So I'm like, wow, are they all closeted gays? Because Jonathan normally doesn't do that.
No.
It was all mostly Andrew that's the gay-coded one. Whatever. I thought it was funny anyway. That was so hot. I honestly, so I came up with a new name. I think they should be called the Dysfunctional Thruple, not the Trio.
Thruple.
Or even just the Thruple. I'm fine with that.
The Thruple.
But then Jonathan reaches out for Warren's ball sack and gets his hand slapped away.
He wants a turn with the ball sack.
Oh, of course he does. But Warren needs to finish playing with his balls first.
Yeah.
Do you mind?
And, like, come on, guys. Who didn't think for a second that you were going to give Warren balls that make him invincible and he's not going to hoard those?
Ever going to give them back?
Yeah.
Like, we've literally done this before.
Yeah.
What was it the last time? The invisibility thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Or, no, there was another invulnerability thing. Or, no. It was the thing that makes you super attractive to women.
Right.
Or turns them into your willing slave.
Yes.
Yeah. So that you can... Anyway, yeah, he doesn't share. He doesn't share.
He doesn't share.
And
he's an asshole.
Yes.
We're like supervillains.
I'm using the Empire's revised designs.
This mummy hand that ceased to be. It is an ex-mummy hand. Stop touching my magic bone.
Cut to Xander's apartment.
Yes, where Buffy's there to check on him. He's not doing great. He's sad. He's sad.
Yeah.
It bothers me that Xander is more bothered by Buffy sleeping with Spike than he is Anya sleeping with Spike.
I said exactly the same thing, but stupping.
Yeah.
With the word stupping. Yeah.
And he even expresses this directly. Buffy tries to say, like, she was hurting, she was upset, and Xander's response is, no, okay, I can understand that. But I can't understand you, fucking Spike. And it's like...
And then not only says that, but then lets it escalate.
Yes.
To its logical conclusion at the end of this scene.
Yeah.
He dies on this hill.
Yes.
And it's cringy.
And, like, obviously Buffy's response is, who I fuck is none of your goddamn business.
They both make kind of legitimate... So they both have legitimate points to make here. But I think Buffy is by far in the right of the wider scenario. Buffy tells him, you didn't want to know when it comes to why didn't you tell me about Spike. And
there is an argument I do want to say. Buffy and Spike were not subtle. They were not subtle. And
Spike wasn't anyway.
Spike wasn't. But Buffy wasn't either. And the only reason none of them fucking figured it out was they were pretty much ignoring it.
Right?
They were ignoring Buffy quite a bit.
Yeah, so this you didn't want to know is a little double-sided.
Yeah.
It's kind of like she's right, but also she didn't try either.
Yeah.
And she said, my personal life's none of your business. Xander says it used to be. And okay, so yes, I think his opinion should be more important to her. And yes, she should have talked to him more about how hard it's been being back from the dead.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, their friendship has never really been all that good. And it's really starting to show the cracks because it's based on him having a really icky crush on her.
Yeah. So when she was with Angel, he was a bitch about it. He was so pissy about her being with Angel. And like, he was okay with Riley, but not even the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was okay with Riley for a good amount of the time, but not the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, how much of this is so easy to explain away with he's jealous because he still wants Buffy.
Yes.
Not because he's in love with her, but because he's just as toxically infatuated with her as Spike.
His entire attitude here, to me, reads, oh, you're going to go fuck Spike, but you're not fucking me?
That's kind of how it comes across.
That's whether or not that was the idea of the writers to write it that way. That's how it presents.
Yeah.
And it fits really well.
It does. It's sad, but
yes.
Yeah.
I think it's more explicitly written that he does not realize that's why he's angry about it.
Right. Yeah. Like, just like you said in the very beginning, he's so obviously more pissed that she would sleep with Spike. He's like, I understand why Anya would do it.
Right.
And this is supposed to be the woman that he wants to be with the rest of his life, whether they're married or not. But then he's like, but you, Buffy, how could you? Because she didn't feel safe coming to him about two huge things. And that's not just you needing privacy, Buffy. That's a bad relationship.
Yes.
If you don't feel safe.
Yes.
So Xander accuses her of lying to him again, and I think she was just playing her cards close to her chest. It was not need to know information for Xander.
Right.
If they'd had a better friendship, she would have fucking said something. So regardless of who's right or wrong, Xander really starts the stabbing here, where he's like, so what? You thought you're evil? Get on me? Talking about Spike. And Buffy retorts back, you fought side by side with him and let him take care of Dawn. And Xander's like, yeah, but I never really forgot what he really is. And his chip is just a leash, and he'd still be dangerous without it. But I'm not hearing any legitimate points you're making anymore, Xander, because you're being so fucking disrespectful to Buffy.
Exceptionally disrespectful.
And I don't care if you're angry anymore. Because this argument is all about whose ghoulies are going into whose hoo-has, and that leaves me not giving a shit about any of it.
Right.
This is old school nonsense.
Yeah. It's grade school nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not grade school, high school nonsense.
I went with the term old school because it was pretty accepted as a cultural norm to be like this back in the 90s and the aughts.
Yeah.
And it's something we're still fighting really hard to turn and flip around.
But Xander is so angry about the conversation, he storms out of his own apartment. Man, you got to be pretty angry to storm out of your own apartment.
Yeah.
Like, the person you're arguing with does not live there, and you storm out, leaving them in your apartment.
I didn't even think of that.
I couldn't imagine that. I think my response would be, get the fuck out of my apartment.
That's hilarious. No, I can... That's an avoidant thing.
Yeah.
If it's somebody I trust being in my house, I would much rather leave than try to force them to leave.
Yeah, I'm not very avoidant, so that maybe that instinct just doesn't really, like, click in my head. Because I could never see myself doing that.
Well,
my reaction would definitely be, get the fuck out of my house, go away.
Well, he could tell Buffy to get the fuck out, but she doesn't have to listen. He can't force her.
Well, telling Buffy what to do is the same thing as telling a 500-pound gorilla what to do.
Exactly. That's exactly my point.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't mean they don't understand you. It just means they don't care.
Exactly. But this takes us into a little small sad montage. He's walking down the street. He's very sad. We see Anya in the magic box. She's very sad. Xander looks longingly through the window. So sad. Everyone's so sad.
Boo!
Yeah.
That's what I sounded like.
Yeah.
That was onomatopoeia.
Yeah.
Of my crying.
Yes.
When I was watching this scene.
I find it interesting that despite the fact that she is now a vengeance demon, Anya has kept the store.
Right. Well, she's not a very good vengeance demon.
No. I guess maybe she's like on a trial period or something.
Right.
Like just to ease her back into the job.
Well, she still needs a cover.
Yeah.
And money.
True.
I mean, I'm sure you can find ways to get money from being a vengeance demon, but I don't know what they are off the top of my head.
Who knows?
Yeah. So we cut to Willow and Tara's Fuck Palace, where Willow cracks Warren's disc full of schematics and blueprints or whatever, and then cracks Tara's vagina one more time.
Okay, quote of the day here. They're researching and they're talking about the research. Willow's talking about, figuring out what the fuck the plan is and everything. And to which Tara responds with, finally getting out of bed. The quote of the day is Willow's response, "I was with you up until there."
Oh, my no.
No. We're going to do all this, and we are not leaving the fucking bed, period.
Nope. We can research and fuck.
Yes.
Making this happen. Even if it's just for posterity.
But Willow does crack some of the data open, which is good.
And then cracks open a cold vagina.
Yeah.
I mean, a warm vagina.
I'm assuming.
I hope
I'm assuming
not cold.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a joke I am not going to make. Wow.
Oh, man.
Oof. Too soon. Because it hasn't happened yet.
Too soon.
For starters. So, cut to Xander at
the bronze. I didn't realize it was the bronze
at first. Me either. Yeah, it didn't.
It took a couple of scenes of being in this bar before I'm like, oh, it's the bronze.
Exactly.
I actually had to go back and rewrite on some of my notes to be like, no, that's the bronze.
Exactly. So Xander's at the bar, and a woman 80,000 times out of Xander's league.
Yes.
Uses his spilled drink as an in to strike up a flirt with Xander. And while I'm busy screaming at the screen, "No! Run! Why?" Xander goes and also does that for me by being a card-carrying human red flag.
Right?
Because he goes off on this weird tangent about, it goes into a big fish metaphor really quickly.
Yes.
It's like, well, she's like, "You're wet." He's like, "Good thing I'm part fish." She's like, "Careful, somebody might catch you." Then he goes on this weird tangent about gasping and flopping around, and keeping with the established fish theme, of course, he throws in a couple things about someone cheating on something, and thank God she figures out that it's a no-go. And he, for some reason, still feels the need to clarify that he's just planning on curling up alone tonight. I'm like, yeah, I think she got that.
Yeah.
About halfway through.
It was probably the giant neon billboard you were waving around there, bud.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it would have been funnier if halfway through his little diatribe there, she got up and walked away.
No, I think it would have been funny as if at the end of it, instead of saying, "Yeah, I was just going to curl up alone tonight," he's like, "So, how have you been? Come here often?" And then she gets up and walks away.
Without a word.
Exactly. How you doing? Just like Warren's about to.
Yes. Then we see the door of the bronze where Warren, Andrew, and Jonathan enter.
In the background.
Yes.
They're there to stir up some shit.
Yep.
Cut to a cemetery.
Random one of the 12 graveyards in Sunnydale where Buffy is fighting a random vamp, kills said random vamp, but does get her ass thrown across the graveyard and slams back first into a gravestone.
There's a lot of good roundhouse kicks in this
Yes,
fight,
there are.
or at least 2 or 3. That's the whole fight is basically roundhouse kicks.
Yes.
Very nice. I enjoyed the one-liner here. Buffy says, "Not bad. How hard you gonna hit when you're blowing in the wind?" And he manages to get one last kick on her as she dusts him with the stake. But his kick sends her flying through that gravestone, as you mentioned. She sits up, looking a little disheveled, and is like, "That was rhetorical."
I cannot imagine how badly that would hurt because she hits the top edge of the gravestone with her lower back.
Yeah, it's okay. It was styrofoam.
I understand that it was actually a styrofoam gravestone and it was a stunt double. I'm just saying I can't imagine the pain of falling and slamming against the corner edge of a stone with your lower back.
Sure, I try not to think about it because I have enough trouble just driving a car and not thinking about graphically the reality of how you would feel after getting in a bad car accident.
Yeah, that would be pretty awful.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I try not to think about that when I don't have to.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm not in danger of being thrown against a gravestone currently or while I'm watching TV generally. But
and you don't tend to go out into graveyards looking to fight things.
Not usually. I might do that more often after this.
It sounds like a really good workout program.
It does. But yeah, you know, when you're driving, you are actually in quite a lot of danger the whole time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You are safe due to social contract.
Yeah. So sorry if I'm unlocking any new fears for anyone. Not that you didn't already know.
Right. Hopefully. Hopefully, if you're driving, you understand that it is not the safest thing to be doing with your time.
Yeah.
So here is the moment where we put in our content warning again, because the following scene is problematic.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to skip this scene, you can jump ahead to the timestamp of
1 hour, 14 minutes, and 45 seconds.
That way lies spooky carnival death. Carnival death. Carnival death.
Chicks, relax.
Spooky carnival death. Carnival death. Carnival death.
I'm a man and a tool.
Let's apply the brakes. Whoa. Talking about raising the dead. Job well done.
Yeah. Now we're here in Buffy's bathroom where they simulate a sexual assault using James Marsters, whom I forgot to look it up, but I'm pretty sure just Google it. There's at least one interview, if not several, where James Marsters talks about how this was one of the most harrowing moments of his career.
Yes. I did look it up, and I can paraphrase it. He basically said that he was very proud of the scene, the acting and the art of the scene, but he would never do it again, period.
Huh.
And I do recall from another interview that I couldn't find, he did explicitly say that he tried to get out of having this scene.
Yeah.
But in the end, you're under contract. You fucking do what the fucking writers want you to do.
Yeah.
And I am going to give credit. It's exceptionally fucking well acted. It makes your skin crawl.
It's a little too real.
Yeah,
it just went south so fast because, I mean, this seems like something I don't even need to talk about, but I made a note. Her bathroom's bigger than my bedroom. It's a huge bathroom.
Yes.
I want that house. Anyway, Spike follows her into the bathroom. He's trying to play the, look, I really care about you card, and he gets all sad boy on her. He's like, you should have just let him kill me. Talking about Xander the other night. And Buffy's like, I couldn't do that. Spike's like, aha! So you admit that you have feelings for me. And she's like, yeah, but it's not love, okay? Because I can't trust you. And he's like, oh, yeah, trust is for old biddies. It's wild and illogical, or whatever the fuck he says.
He says it's wild and dangerous. Essentially.
That's the one.
Spike is wrong. Just so you know.
Right.
If you had any questions about the situation, Spike is wrong.
And then the rest of the scene is Spike grabbing her, and it escalates really quickly. Yeah. He's trying to like spark things up the way he used to, but it's obviously just not the same. She's really not into it.
No.
Like before it was like, hey, we're fighting, but we're both kind of into it. And then they had this spark of a moment where, hey, we're boning now. But now she's like, no, get the fuck off me. And he's like, come on. And I'm like, oh, buddy, no.
And like they play it exceptionally well because the way they set the scene, the fact that she is hurt is the only way that he could have ever gotten her into this position. But at the very latest possible moment to get things to stop, she manages to get her foot up and kick him off her and throwing him across the room. And the line that makes it to me is he tries to explain away what he was doing. He's like, I didn't, kind of a I didn't mean to sort of thing. And her response is, you didn't because I stopped you.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting part of how they played this. Like, it's an impressively accurate and gritty portrayal, and the reason I use the word simulation of a rape rather than just a straight up rape scene is because it stops being a rape scene at the moment that she overpowers him and kicks him away, and then he suddenly feels bad about it. And I'm like, okay, now we're back to Buffy the Vampire Slayer and with all the teen drama.
Now, begrudgingly, I can grasp why this is in the episode.
Yeah.
Because this moment is Spike's bleakest, darkest moment. And this is when
and he's murdered half of Europe.
Right. But like this is the moment where it shows 100% that Spike can't be what she deserves. Like, period. Like he
it shows
can't.
us, and he realizes it.
Exactly. I will say, I've done more digging on this. This scene was written by a woman.
Okay. Oh God, it would have to be.
It would have to be. But the whole reason why it was written,
was it Jane Espenson? I saw her name at the beginning of the credit roll.
Yep. According to Jane Espenson, Spike's lines about getting.
She wrote it.
Yep.
The whole episode.
Yep.
It's credited to her anyway.
Oh no! This episode was actually written. The rest of the episode was written by Stephen DeKnight, but this scene was written by a woman. So like,
does it say who that woman was?
No.
Interesting.
But with the way I've seen in interviews, I'm pretty sure it was Jane Espenson.
Okay. Well, you saw her name on there. What does it say she did?
Her name's on here because she's talking about the vagueness of him leaving at the end.
Okay.
Because at the end of the episode, he leaves, and the whole idea, oh, is he going off to get the chip out of his head? Or
yeah, I know what you mean.
But since I have it up, James Marsters' quote in regards to this is, "I am proud of it artistically, but as a human being, I never, never, never want to do a scene like that again, and I will always refuse because I know what it does to me." And I couldn't fucking do it. I couldn't do it. Doesn't matter how much I would be getting paid. I couldn't act out a scene like this.
It'd be rough. I don't know. I honestly don't know if I could do it or not.
I can't playfully hit people. Like I'm uncomfortable with playfully hitting people. Like I would struggle to hit somebody who explicitly asked me to hit them.
Well, I'm sure it was. Oh man, when she hit her head on the bathtub, I was like, "Oh, that shit just got too real."
Yeah, it's an intense scene.
But having done stage combat, that doesn't bother me per se. I'm sure it was very well choreographed and safe for the actors.
I can't be comfortable with my own violence in that way.
Sure,
not to act it out towards people that I like.
Yeah.
And like respect. I couldn't do it.
And that's why you're not an actor.
Yeah. That's
very
valid.
I was an actor, so that's why I'm kind of on the fence about it. Haven't acted for a while, but I was for a while. So
I did want to say the last line, which really hammers the entire scene home, is Buffy looking to Spike and says, "Ask me again why I can never love you."
Yeah. Yeah, that really drove it home. But, yeah, and he starts to be all, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, because I stopped you." And that's enough about that scene.
Yeah.
So, cut back to Dabrons, where Warren hits on a girl until her boyfriend shows up, and he tells him to scram. So, Warren takes delight in recognizing this guy from high school gym class or whatever, and the one who used to bully him, too. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm all for that. Fuck high school bullies. You know, if I could get some revenge on a high school bully, I certainly would.
Yeah.
But Warren, of course, takes it too fucking far.
Talk about the truth of the character, because the moment he gets a fucking modicum of real power, out comes the most misogynistic shit you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like,
for just a moment here, I thought he was just doing this. The things that he said that were misogynist at first sounded like he was just saying it to piss off this dude. But as the scene went on, I was like, oh, he meant that.
Yes. It is.
He really thought he was about to hook up with this woman because she must be so much more into him than her boyfriend.
Well, no, and his entire tone when he's talking about it is, it's not about whether or not she's into him. He's going to make it happen.
Right. Yeah. There was no agency in the matter, which, extra cringy.
But,
especially after the fucking Spike and Buffy scene.
Yeah. He kicks the dude's ass, then walks over to the bar where there's some women there. punches the cash register to pop it open, is like, oh, here, have some money, and starts like giving money out. And then enters Xander, who apparently did not see everything leading up to this situation, which is, the only reason why he would be dumb enough to be like, oh, I'm going to try and fight Warren.
Right. Now, before the Xander part, Andrew and Jonathan have a couple little asides.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, Andrew is telling Jonathan that he needs to shut the fuck up and accept Warren as his leader because Warren is Picard and Jonathan is Deanna Troi. And I'm like, who do you think you are, Andrew? Do you think you're Riker? Because you are not Riker.
No.
Even in this pathetic little analogy that you're making. Frankly, I can't figure out who Jonathan is either, but it's not Deanna Troi.
No.
He's not anyone's counselor, let alone a ship's counselor. I was thinking maybe Geordi, but...
Immediately my thought was, no, like, I think they're both Geordi.
But Geordi's too cool.
Right?
Geordi
is a bit of an incel.
Geordi is?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, was there some shit that didn't age well?
He's not nearly like full-on incel. But he is... There are some bits here and there sprinkled through episodes where... And there is one whole episode where he has essentially a relationship with a hologram version of a real person.
Geordi does?
Yes.
Ooh.
And then that comes to bite him in the ass because this real person finds out about it, and it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they actually handled that fairly well, except for the fact that she doesn't punch him in the dick. But Geordi is the closest to an incel character in the entirety of Star Trek. And I don't mean that just TNG. I mean the entirety of Star Trek. He is the most incel character.
We're talking about the one played by LeVar Burton, right?
Yes!
Okay, just making sure, because I never got that impression from Geordi at all, but I'm going to have to rewatch some stuff.
And
new podcast.
I'm sorry, but once you realize it, you won't unsee it.
Damn. All right, we can't do any more Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is now officially a TNG podcast.
I do want to just say, in defense of LeVar Burton and Geordi as a character, he's not that much of an incel, and outside of that one episode, like, he's a little pissy about his lack of dating life, but he's not that bad. He's a down on his luck sort of guy. He's not a I hate women because they don't fuck me sort of guy.
Right. Jonathan could be more of a Data in this analogy.
Yes.
Not a good analogy for Data,
right,
but in this analogy.
Either way, neither Andrew nor Jonathan nor Warren have any fucking right to be any character from TNG.
Absolutely not.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely not. Not even a little bit. Not even the evil versions.
Right.
Like, they're still better than these assholes.
At best, they're the Ferengi before DS9 happened.
Before they actually evolve into
full characters.
Reasonable creatures.
Right.
Reasonable beings, yeah.
Like in the TNG episode where the Ferengi first show up and they're just the most stereotypical,
I know
terrible
exactly
creature.
what you're talking. They've got the whips,
yes,
and they're jumping around like monkeys.
Those are the
literal
characters.
monkeys.
Yes, those are the characters that Warren, Jonathan, and Andrew are.
Basically. Oh God! All right, we've spent a full 5 minutes talking about TNG or Star Trek.
Xander comes in and then decides he needs to pick a fight with Warren because he thinks he can fight Warren, which, if it weren't for Warren's big magical balls, Xander would probably kick his ass.
Yeah, so Warren's getting all creepy with these women, and he's like, don't worry, baby, Daddy's gonna give you some too. And you know you're being a fucking creep when Xander steps in, and I'm like, oh, thank God, an adult is here.
And Warren, though, turns around and taunts him about Anya, and it hits hard. It does hit hard.
Oh, yeah, they both get some good zingers on each other.
But after he taunts Xander about Anya, Xander, of course, fucking punches him, but it doesn't do any good because of his big magical balls. And then Jonathan hits him back and knocks him across the room.
Yeah, he says, no wonder she's sleeping with a monster. You punch like a girl. Xander says, at least I know how to get one.
Yeah.
And Warren sends him flying across the fucking room.
Yeah.
And I had very mixed feelings about this.
Right?
I was
You're like, I want Xander to get his comeuppance, but not from Warren.
Not from Warren. I don't want him to get seriously injured.
Right.
I just want him to get put in his place.
Yeah.
And to learn from it. But also, it's like, yeah, you kind of deserve that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
And Warren's about ready to kill Xander, but luckily, Jonathan is able to kind of talk him down because they have a time crunch.
Granted, if this had happened in real life, if somebody went flying that far from a punch, they'd be dead.
Just dead.
Absolutely dead. But Xander's just got like a bloody nose.
Right.
Like, no, he's dead.
Yeah. Cut to Buffy's house, where Xander is there. He's shown up to tell Buffy about running into the trio.
Mm-hmm.
He walks in. He immediately sees Spike's coat, which is on the banister. And then he goes upstairs. He finds Buffy in the bathroom. And of course, A, doesn't knock on the closed bathroom door.
Yeah, that's problematic at best.
And B, busts in basically like, oh, so you're not fucking Spike anymore, huh?
Yeah.
And of course, she is sitting there crying. And I hope he feels like the biggest piece of fucking shit possible.
He damn well better. Yeah, his anger turns from her to Spike very quickly. And okay, I'm finally kind of back on board with Xander. He's still a huge dick, but we can move on for now.
But I want to say this. And this is something that I struggled to come to terms with a long time through my life. But this is my message to all men listening to this. If you encounter a situation where a friend of yours has been sexually assaulted, your first response cannot be, I'm going to go kill them. That is not what is needed in that moment, and that doesn't help anyone, because at that moment, if your response to someone you care about being hurt like that is, I'm going to go murder somebody, that is a selfish thing. That is a selfish action that helps no one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't respond with anger. You respond with care for the person in front of you.
Yeah.
That's my PSA.
Get them calmed down, make them some tea, get yourself separated from the situation after a due amount of time, and then go murder them.
Depending. The point is, though, the response to a friend getting hurt should not be cause violence on others. That is a toxic masculine trait.
Absolutely.
And that is not what a victim needs.
Yeah.
A victim needs comfort, care, and love in a time of pain. Xander's entire motivation for wanting to hurt Spike is purely 100% selfish.
Yeah. And it's still based on the same motivations he had for being mad at Buffy for sleeping with Spike.
Yep.
Not because he's mad that he hurt Buffy now.
Exactly.
He didn't have enough time to process that, for Christ's sake.
Luckily, he listens to her when she tells him not to, which, of course, again, this is why it's a bad thing, because now you are putting the emotional burden on her to stop you from doing a stupid thing.
Right.
Like you are taking over the situation with your emotional, childish bullshit.
Yeah, it's like over apologizing to somebody when you've done something wrong, and now you're putting the emotional burden on them to comfort you for being upset about you being a dick.
Right.
Originally. And that's manipulative.
Yep.
Don't do that. So Willow runs in excitedly announcing that she found something until she sees Buffy crying on the floor and bruised and Xander's bloody face. And she's like, oh shit, what happened? And I don't know. Okay, I do know. But personally, I'd have looked at this situation. I'd have looked at Xander and been like, what did you do? Right? Because Buffy's on the floor crying and he's bloody. I'm like, what happened here? This looks bad for Xander.
Yes, it
really
does.
bad.
It really does.
I mean, we all know the truth, and Willow respects Xander enough to not go there. So,
but also, Buffy does not tell Willow what happened, and even basically says, that's not important. What do you need to say? And Willow, without missing a beat, respects what Buffy says and fucking drops it. There's not another hint about her concern about the situation at all for the rest of the episode. Because that is what you should do when the victim of a situation says, no, I need this. And like the situation with the trio is important, for fuck's sake. So she wants to move forward and face that and then do the work to deal with the other emotional trauma and physical trauma later.
Yeah, priorities. Definitely. And respecting people's space and wishes.
Yeah,
certainly.
Exactly.
Good call.
Sodding, limey, shagging, knickers, bollocks. I'm English. I'm English.
Call me horny.
I saved the Scoobies.
Call me desperate for a shag.
I'll show you mine.
Fresh out of bed.
They should have been dead 100 years ago. And we're the only ones who are really alive.
They cut to the dining room where Willow and Tara explain things that they've found and information they found. And I did like this bit where they're like, oh, we found these documents, but we can't figure out what language this is. And it turns out it's Klingon.
And Xander, of course, recognizes them as Klingon love poems.
Yeah.
Come on. Anyway, whatever. It's still better than the nerdy shit they did with the trio.
Yeah.
Willow and Tara tell Buffy about the disc that they found with all kinds of schematics and blueprints on it, and they've even narrowed it down to one of the jobs that the trio is trying to pull, and it's happening tonight. And it's time sensitive.
Yeah.
Isn't that convenient?
Yes.
So Xander warns Buffy about Warren. He's gone all Mighty Mouse. Emphasis on the might. And Buffy's like, oh, then it is on.
Right. She's like, good. I want to break something.
I need to hurt something that deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And boy, does Warren deserve it.
Boy, howdy.
Cut to Spike's lair.
Spike's lair. Where he goes all existential crisis on us.
Yeah. I really liked that they brought Clem in for this.
At first it felt like a difficult tonal shift.
Right. Yes.
And at first I was like, oh, Clem, can we just give Spike some time to be broody on his own? But I love where they went with it.
Well, two big things. One, this scene can't work if Spike doesn't have someone to talk to, period. Like,
I suppose, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
It could be done, and I think James Marsters could have pulled it off.
Yeah.
But it would be
he went to Juilliard.
Very difficult.
He knows how to do a soliloquy.
Yes.
But that's not what happens here.
And I think the weight of it works better having a foil to work off of in the scene. But I think the part about it that I like the most is I almost feel like the writers knew that this was going to happen, and they're like, we need him to be able to talk to somebody. Let's put Clem here. And then they wrote him into scenes earlier in the show to bring it in so it felt less awkward.
Wait, are you saying that's why Clem exists entirely?
No. So I'm looking at it from a standpoint.
I think he definitely just started as, I know you're not arguing that, but I think he definitely just started as a random demon for the kitten poker.
Yes, that's exactly what he started at.
They did not intend to have him go on any further.
Right. And I think that is definitely the case. But what I'm saying, and this is something that I've learned from my own writing projects, okay? When you're writing a draft, you get to a point where you're like, oh, I need this scene, and I need a character here for this scene to work.
Yeah.
So what probably they were doing is they were drafting out these episodes, figuring out, because this episode was probably written well before the previous couple episodes.
Yeah, I've hit similar scenarios in game design as well.
And so they're like, okay, well, we need another character for Spike to talk to here. Let's bring in Clem. And then they're like, okay, well, let's put Clem in a few episodes before this so it makes sense that he'd even show up here.
We'll establish that they hang out occasionally, that they are buddies like that.
And I think the entire reason that Clem is in this season of Buffy is for this moment. That being said, I love it. Right. I like Clem. He's a good character.
He somehow manages to be hilarious in one of the darkest scenes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've got a few choice lines from Spike in this scene. It's really kind of a long scene, though, so we can't hit all of it. But
yes, it is a very long scene.
I picked a few anyway. Spike says, everything used to be so clear. Slayer, vampire. Vampire kills Slayer, sucks her dry. picks his teeth with her bones. That's how it's always been. I've tasted the life of 2 slayers, but with Buffy. And then I'm skipping over a bit.
Yeah.
He's talking about the chip now. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. It's the chip. Steel and wires and silicon. It won't let me be a monster, and I can't be a man. I'm nothing. And then Clem is busy being hilarious and supportive, and he's like, hey, come on now, Mr. Negative. You never know what's just around the corner. Things change. And Spike gets this crazy idea how to show Buffy who he really is and starts packing a bag.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, God. What fuckery.
Yeah.
What fresh hell is afoot.
The line that the last line Spike says here is, things change if you make them.
Clem said that?
No,
or
Spike
said things change if you make them. Okay.
Because Clem is like, no, man, things change. Like, things could change for the better, kind of thing. And and Spike's reaction is, things change if you make them change.
Yeah.
And you know what? I like that Clem's just a pretty decent friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's trying his best to be there for Spike.
He really is. He's just vibing here.
Yeah.
There was this moment where, with what they did with compositionally with the music, I thought that they were swelling up to, like, when Spike turns around and he's gone all, like, evil-eyed, I thought he was going to take his rage out on Clem and murder Clem for a second there. I'm like, Clem, danger, run! Because he was mad about not being able to be a monster or a man. And I'm like, well, the only thing he can beat up is demons.
And Clem's a demon.
Run! But turned out that's not the case. So I'm
kind
glad.
Of ballsy on Clem's part.
Well, he's seen some shit. He hangs out in seedy places. He's best friends with Spike.
Right.
So I bet Clem can handle himself in a fight.
I kind of want to see that.
I do too.
Yeah.
I mean...
Do you think maybe he's wrinkly because he can, like, puff up like a pufferfish?
Yes, absolutely. That is headcanon now.
Yeah.
Also, I was going to say, I mean, he's a demon. Demons generally have some sort of weird supernatural power.
Yeah.
He's probably got... And maybe it's puffing up and having some sort of super strength based on that. Yes, he's a pufferfish. I love it.
Cut to Wild River Adventure.
Fucking shit. Yeah,
it's some sort of theme park.
Some sort of theme park. Yeah. It seemed to be a water park, maybe.
Yeah.
Warren tips over an armored van with 2 security guards in it and rips off the door because they just got done loading it up with a bunch of sacks of cash.
As the NPCs said, the background characters are basically like, oh, this is the biggest gate number of the year or some shit like that. So it's like, this is why it's time sensitive. It's the day that it's going to be the highest take from this place or something.
Yeah. And then as he's closing up the truck, he says, don't lose any.
Yeah. That's the exact same mentality of, oh, it's not scanning. I guess it's free.
It's the same. It's in the same ballpark. Yeah. Anyway, Warren tips over the armored van with 2 security guards in it, rips off the door. Buffy immediately perches herself atop the side of the van because that is now the top of the van. And she quips at him, is this your bank? Because if not, there's going to be a fee for that.
I liked it.
There would be a laugh track if this were any other show.
Right?
God damn it. Warren is just delighted to see her.
Yeah.
And they fight.
And he is spouting the most misogynistic shit he can manage to spout during the fight.
Yeah. I didn't take too much of that in. Any quotes from that?
Not direct quotes or anything like that, but he's basically just going on about how much he's a man and he's kicking her ass because she is a girl.
Oh yeah, what's the matter, baby? You never fight a real man before? Yeah. I'm the man who beat you because I've got the brains. I'm like, wow, megalomaniac much?
Yeah. They're fighting, and then she fucking chucks Warren a decent distance. He hits
the arch.
The arch, and it collapses on him, and she's like, well, that's done. And
I was like, no.
Yeah, and then she goes and taunts Andrew and Jonathan a little bit, and then, of course, Andrew's like, actually, go look over there. And Warren pops out of the rubble.
Yeah, because of course he does. We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody in the show falls under a pile of rubble, or in any movie for that matter, without dramatically reaching up through it later.
Yeah, exactly.
I learned that from Ninja Turtles 2.
Yes.
Secret of the Ooze. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Do we ever see Shredder after that again? Huh.
No.
Oh, but also, I mean, you think he dies in the first one, too. Anyway, it doesn't matter. People are going to pop up from the fucking rubble. That's how it works.
But yeah, the fight continues, Warren spouting his misogynistic bullshit up until the point where Jonathan jumps on Buffy's back. And of course, Warren is kind of impressed by this.
Yeah.
But it is a complete and total ploy as Jonathan whispers into Buffy's ear and tells her about the orbs. You know, lucky that.
Yeah. I think this is maybe the first time ever that Warren's actually been impressed by him.
Yeah. To maintain the ruse, Buffy decides, you know what? I'm going to throw Jonathan.
Oh, she's still mad at him. He still gets what he deserves here. He's not without things to be held accountable for.
Right.
But still, good on you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
This may actually get you out of jail if you're willing to squeal on these guys.
Yes.
So Warren knocks her down one more time as he goes for the kill shot, he exposes his ball sack.
And she sees the ball sack, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to rip off his magical balls and break them on the ground.
Supernatural sack tap.
Yes.
And, smashes them into the pavement, draining him of his manly power.
Yes.
And she stands up, kicks him in the chest, he flies backward, and she calls him a sad little boy. It's time to grow up and pay for what you've done. And then he fucking jetpacks off.
Yep. Jetpacks away, and then...
Which is only a couple syllables off from jacks off.
Yes. Anyway, Andrew, of course, is like, oh, I have a jetpack too, and he pulls off his coat. Jonathan's like, hey, I don't have one.
And this is kind of great, actually, because Andrew is being all serious, and then he hits the button, and his lead-up is... I'm like, wow, when did Andrew become a badass? He's like, well played, Slayer. This round to you, but the game is far from over.
Right?
And he hits the button, and of course...
Slams right into the ceiling.
Right into the awning that he's underneath. The metal awning, and knocks himself unconscious.
And then, of course, Jonathan and Andrew are getting arrested.
Uh-huh. Man, I smacked my head at the gym yesterday, and I was worried I had a concussion because I hit my head on one of those handlebars from the cable machine. And, like, man, hitting your head on a metal roof with jet power energy, just like, again, probably dead.
Right.
If not from the smashed skull, from the snapped neck.
Like, not just that he hit the ceiling, but he's now 10 feet in the air above.
And then falls.
Where he ragdolls and, like...
And not just his body weight,
no.
But the weight of a goddamn jetpack also.
No, he should be dead.
Yeah.
He should definitely be dead. So I want to have a little bit of a tangent piece of information here because I find this fucking hilarious. The fact that Warren has the balls right on like available for her to grab. Mm-hmm. First off, really dumb. And it made me think back. I wish I could remember. I tried finding it, but I couldn't find it. And I wish I could remember which version of D&D Monster Manual has this, where it talks about the Lich. I know you don't know a ton about D&D lore, but the Lich is an evil wizard who essentially casts a spell to tear his soul off him and put the soul into a thing called the phylactery. And he's now an undead creature who can't die because his soul's in this like magical device.
Okay,
right?
That's not the first time you've explained it to me, but I certainly could have explained it to anybody else.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, in this book, it explicitly says a suggestion to the DMs that the Lich oftentimes carries their phylactery on a necklace around their neck. If you destroy the phylactery, you destroy the Lich. And I always thought, that's the stupidest thing ever. Mm-hmm. No bad guy would be like, you know what? I'm going to carry my weakness on my chest.
In full view.
In full view.
Yeah. Like,
and Warren is that dumb.
Maybe hidden under some armor or something, maybe.
Yeah. Or, you know, The original legend of what a lich is a person who removes his soul, puts his soul in the head of a needle, which goes into an egg, which goes into like a goose, which goes into a chest, which is buried. And so the whole idea is that if you find the chest, you unbury the chest and open the chest, the goose flies off and you have to try and catch the goose. All these fucking like Russian doll steps to find the soul. Like that's the original idea of the lich
Would
legend.
the goose still be alive though?
It's a dumb myth story.
Okay.
All I'm saying is that the idea that you could have this thing that is the source of your power and be like, here, grab a hold of it.
Not only that, but it was covered by his jacket, and just before he's about to do the killing blow, he whips his jacket over to reveal his ball sack.
Because he's like, I'm going to kill you. Look at my balls.
Exactly. Lick my balls.
And I think my favorite part about
it was
it...
supposed to be a Rick impression. It wasn't good.
No, it wasn't. I didn't get Rick at all.
Yeah, sorry.
My favorite part, though, is the hand motion that Buffy makes to grab these is the hand motion that Buffy would make to grab his nutsack and rip it off.
So the same hand motion that we make to tell each other ball in hand while we're playing pool.
Yes, exactly that.
Great. Love it. It's all come full circle.
Yes.
Sorry, it's all climaxed to full circle.
All I'm saying is that if you have something that is the source, the sole source of your immense power, maybe hide it.
Sure. It's video game logic, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's the main character. Anyway, so the cops haul off Andrew and Jonathan to the police station. Andrew whines about how Warren abandoned him and never really loved hanging out with them.
Yeah.
Because he is so in love with Warren and very in the closet. Mm-hmm. It'd be cute if it weren't so sad.
Yes.
Jonathan's just soaking in the reality of being in jail for a long-ass time. Cut to Spike on a motorcycle.
Yeah. Spike leaves Sunnydale saying things will change when he returns.
He pulls off an actual broody dark exit,
yes,
like Andrew was attempting, and he says, "Get nice and comfy, Slayer. I'll be back. And when I do, it's all gonna change."
I just love that he's riding the same motorcycle he got from the fucking motorcycle demon motorcycle
Is
gang.
it the same one?
I am positive it is.
I mean, it would make sense if that's where he got it. It didn't look like the same one to me, though.
I don't know if it was the same bike, but like
canonically it must be.
It must be the same bike. And I just love the idea that he kept this thing that
Absolutely.
long. Like, it's fantastic.
Why wouldn't he?
Right?
Things fall apart. You know, it takes time to the last monsters on eBay. And you just be kissing me now.
Still more things.
We're
I forgot.
We're in the home stretch.
Woo! We're at Buffy's house. Next day, Willow and Tara's room. All right.
This is one of those episodes that ends like 4 times.
Right? Yeah.
Like the scene with Andrew and Jonathan could be the end of the episode. The scene with Spike could be the end of the episode. This could be the beginning of an episode.
Yeah, but
no, it's got to be cliffhanger.
This is where it happens.
Yes.
Fuck. Here we go. Willow and Tara are trying on new clothes and being cutesy.
Yes.
And saying stuff like, "I could get used to this. You better not. You should be naked, get it?" So they hug and kiss, and Tara spots Xander out in the backyard. Willow's like, "Well, that's not the reaction I was hoping for." It's funny.
Right.
It's cutesy. It's very fucking... It's ridiculously cute.
Fucking love it.
Everything's
all much worse.
Everything's so goddamn happy and fluffy.
Happy.
So,
anyway,
cut to Xander in the backyard.
Yeah, Xander approaches Buffy to talk. He apologizes, kinda. I'm a little pissed that he doesn't actually apologize. Like,
maybe he doesn't say the words, but I didn't feel like there was anything disingenuous about it.
He expresses that it hurt. And
he still kind of made it about him, didn't he?
Yes, he expresses that it hurt, and he explains why it hurt, and that it hurt because she didn't trust him enough to tell him. But he never at all says that he is in the wrong in the least. He implies it at best.
Yeah.
And that is not how you apologize.
Yeah, that's not a good apology. It was good enough for the 90s, even though this was the early aughts.
Right.
But Buffy
Xander is on, even at this point in the episode or in the series, he's still unquestionably a character of the 90s.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
He never grew out of the character
left.
He started as.
Never left the 90s. But no, Buffy's poking through the garden for more cameras and turns around to Xander, who's making a lame joke about it. She tells him Warren got away. Xander's like, oh, you'll find him. He won't be much good without his friends. And there's an implication that means, oh, yeah, we need to be friends again, and we all need to be good friends because our friends are important to us, and we're stronger with our friends, was the implication behind that. So they sit down on a little garden bench and hash out all their shit, kind of, and say all the things that we were screaming at our screens about the whole time, kind of, again. Xander admits he was an unapproachable ass. So in that way,
he admits some wrongdoing, but he does not apologize.
Yeah. Buffy admits that she should have told him, even if it's not true. It's very kind of her to say so. And then Warren pops in for a quick visit with a handgun and pops off 5 or 6 rounds towards Buffy and Xander.
I want to mention that he shows up, pulls the gun out, basically, and I did not write it down exactly what he says, but he basically says, oh, you think I'm going to let you do this to me? And then essentially, for all intents and purposes, covers his eyes and just starts pulling the trigger.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He's like closing his eyes and sticking his arm out. Like
he's a terrible shot, which, you know, for where they are taking this, it kind of needed to be a bad shot. I did not remember it happening this way at all.
No.
But yeah, I like the choice, whether it was an actor. No, it obviously was a directorial / writing choice to make him look weak and pathetic.
Right, because he is weak and
without his demon balls.
Yes.
But he pops off 5 or 6 rounds in Buffy and Xander's direction, and then one randomly up in the air as he runs off, which, of course, as we all know, hits Tara right in the back. Exits through her chest, spraying Willow's new shirt in blood. And Tara's last words are, your shirt.
Yeah.
Willow's horrified. Xander gets up and runs to Buffy, who is also shot somewhere in the torso.
I forgot that Buffy got shot.
Me too.
Completely forgot that Buffy got shot.
We couldn't see exactly where she got shot, but
in the chest.
He's putting pressure on the wound as blood oozes out around his hands. Willow sobs uncontrollably. She looks up. Her eyes turn full black and then red. Gerarg.
Buckle up, Rupert.
Because I've turned pro.
Uh-oh, Daddy's home. I'm in wicked trouble now.
No, honey. I am the magic. She was your big O, wasn't she, Warren? Not until you killed her. You get off on it. You had him mad on for the Slayer. Oh, honey. I am the magic. Oh, honey. I get off.
If you're looking for me, now's not a great time. Amateur. 6 years as a sideman. Fly, my pretty fly. I get to be the Slayer. Word now.
No, honey. I am the magic.
It's almost like that's what Willow said.
Yeah.
Arg. But actually, no, really.
Yeah. How'd you feel about this episode, Josh?
Well, mixed feelings. I mean, that is a choice to kill off a character like that. It is a choice to have a sexual assault scene.
I really feel like this ought to have been 2 episodes.
Sure.
I think I can wrap my head around why it's not 2 episodes. Because there was a long process of setup for all of this. This is the moment where, okay, we're not fucking around anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they've been doing a lot of fucking around. The whole season has been a lot of fucking around. But this is the moment. They're not fucking around anymore.
No. Nobody's fucking around anymore,
Exactly.
suddenly.
I feel a little bit like the A and B story, which, you can't even call either of them the B story. This episode has 2 A's,
Yeah.
because of the weight of them.
The Spike story and the trio story?
Yes.
I would call Willow and Tara the B story.
Yeah.
And you can still call Spike and the trio the 2 A's.
Right.
Actually, I would call Spike the C story, Willow and Tara the B story, and the trio the A story.
And see, I'm torn on that, though, because, it's the weight of it. It's the weight of it.
Xander and Anya the D story. There's a lot of fucking threads going on.
Yes. And I will give credit to that, this is a hell of a juggle.
Oh, yeah.
And they do it really well.
Yeah.
But did I really like it? I don't know.
I think in terms of serialized television, it's a great setup for Dark Willow.
Yes.
And it's a great setup for Spike running off and getting his soul or whatever he's going to do.
Right.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Who can say? It's a great setup for the demise of the trio.
Yeah.
Warren being flayed like a fish. Looking forward to it.
Can't wait. I think I got my issue. There's a pretty big shift change with the trio in this episode. Because even the last episode we had them in, they're fucking goofy.
Right.
There was a couple hints here and there of the darker aspects of Warren.
Of them getting a little more serious.
Right. But they're fucking goofy.
Yeah.
They are not goofy in this episode. Not really. There's a little bit, just a little. But, Warren actually is a fucking nightmare of a bad guy just because, he's a fucking monster.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, though. He finally got some real power, and now he can really let his id go.
Yeah.
And instead of playing around manipulating these 2 little doofuses, he can go really live out his dreams.
I think maybe I would have liked that part more if they acquired the orbs in a previous episode. If they acquired them at the end of a previous episode, so we didn't have to have that set up for this episode, and they gave
that
a little bit more time.
That would have given us more room to do other
because
larger things.
This episode felt very fast fire moment, short scene, and that's a little bit of a thriller vibe, which can kind of work, but it's a little too much, especially with how heavy these scenes are. You don't you have no room, no time to sit with what fucking happened between Buffy and Spike.
Yeah, that could have been a whole episode by itself.
Yeah. And
Tara and Willow getting back together could have been a whole episode by itself.
I liked the episode, but when I think about
Xander and Buffy fighting and making up again could have been a whole ass episode by itself.
Right. And when I think about the last handful of fucking episodes through this and the number of shit fucking trio being goofy bad guys that we've had, it's they could have taken all of this condensed, deep, painful, real story and spread it out a bit through the goddamn season.
Well, hindsight's 20/20.
Well, yes, obviously, but I'm just saying that I think that's why I can't enjoy the episode nearly as much as I feel I ought to.
I think enjoy is just the wrong word for what to do with this episode. I appreciate this episode.
It is.
I respect this episode.
This episode has hands down some of the best acting
and writing, even if it's rushed.
Yes.
They still did the right things with the story.
Yes. I was so worried coming up to this episode because I remembered that scene, but I didn't really remember everything around it. So I was dreading that. And I especially was dreading it because I knew that the actors involved really hated doing that scene in a lot of ways, and they were uncomfortable with it.
That helps.
And like that does help me feel a little better about it. But so I felt like, oh God, how terribly are they going to handle this?
Yeah, they certainly weren't trying to make anybody have a good time.
No. But
it was edgy.
When it comes to writing assault scenes, there's a lot of debate in a lot of circles about, do you need it? Like, is it necessary? I very firmly have always fallen on to the grounds of like, no, you don't. There are plenty of ways to make a bad guy seem like a bad guy without having that scene, But I would be lying if I said that it didn't at least feel like the step that was most likely to happen with that character.
Yeah. That's not something that could have just happened off camera and we really understand what went wrong.
Right. And
we wouldn't have been able to be like, oh, Spike is problematic at best now.
And it
always
does.
was, but now in a whole different way.
Right. And it unquestionably, this whole end of this thing unquestionably colors every scene of Spike leading up to this. I've been struggling with it all season.
Yeah, I can tell. I could tell.
Yeah.
I have been able to tell.
That being said, I don't think I'm going to watch it ever again. I don't think I can watch that scene ever again.
That's fair. I mean, it's art. You can argue about it all day. Sometimes it's tasteless. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's questionable. I don't know. I think it's always a choice when they step outside the boundaries of just trying to amuse and entertain.
Yeah.
And try to open people's eyes about something, which this scene felt like it was doing more than just moving the plot forward. It was trying to be like, it was one of the parts of the show that succeeds at being feminist. Because it's showing us what women go through with men, just trying to go through a breakup.
Yeah. I think it's just too much for me to process.
Yeah.
It's too deeply real to me. And
that's what makes it art and not just a stupid TV show that happened.
Oh, yeah. And I think if anybody involved with this was like, yeah, it is what it is, or anything like that, then I'd be like, oh, God, no. This is garbage.
It's not lighthearted viewing. This isn't the episode you sit down and have some popcorn for.
No.
This is not your Monster of the Week episode.
No. Introduce people to Buffy once more with feeling. Not this episode.
Yeah. Or any of the other multitudes of Monster of the Week episodes. Any of them, really. Well, is that it?
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This has been another episode of Buffy.
Oh, we didn't do quotes. Shit.
Oh, shit. What's your quote of the day, Rex?
I think I have to go with your shirt.
Oh! Coming out swinging, huh?
Yeah.
God damn.
It's the line that I was dreading because I remembered it too well.
Yeah, I knew it was something like that.
Oh, my God.
I knew it was something about Willow's shirt. I didn't remember it was just your shirt. Damn. Let's see what I got here.
Sorry, I don't mean to put you in the spotlight because, like...
whatever. It's fine. That's a hard one to follow up.
It is.
You are a ballsy son of a bitch.
Ballsy, unlike Warren.
Unlike Warren.
Warren, the ballless wonder.
All right. I'm going to give it to Spike. So the birds are flying again, eh? Ain't love grand?
Yeah. There's a lot of nuance in that delivery.
Yeah.
It is impressive.
Man went to Juilliard.
Right.
He knows what he's doing. All right. Well, then. That's it for this episode. This has been another episode of Beer with Buffy. Don't forget to follow us on Blue Sky. Probably don't bother following us on Facebook anymore, where we might make a Discord. Rex is deleting his Facebook, and I'm probably not far behind. Please review us on iTunes. It's one of the best ways to help our algorithm. If you'd like to buy some of our merch, you can go to beerwithbuffy.com/shop. Speaking of reviewing us on iTunes, once we get to 100 reviews, we're giving away another hoodie.
And also remember, if you review us on iTunes and you email us a screenshot of your review, of the editing screen of writing your review, we will send you we'll send you a coupon to get a free sticker.
Yes. It'll only cost you a penny.
Yes.
If you'd like to just throw your money out the window and directly down our gullets, you can go to patreon.com/beerwithbuffy, because that's what that website is for. People like doing it. I promise you'll enjoy it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always email us at beerwithbuffy@gmail.com. You can leave us a voicemail at 269-743-0783. You can also text that number. Last but not least, shout out to Adam Danis for all of our new transition music.
Yeah.
Woo!
Hell yeah. We've been working on that transition music forever.
You are welcome. All right, this has been Beer with Buffy. I'm Josh.
I'm Rex. Have a good night.
Keanu Speed, Rex.
Great to be with you.
Whoa.
You are the Slayer. Lives depend upon you. I make allowances for your years, but I expect a certain amount of responsibility, and instead of which you enslave yourself to this cult.
You don't like the color?
You have a sacred birthright. You were chosen to destroy vampires, not to wave pom-poms at people.
Why can't you people just leave me alone?
You are the Slayer.
Go ahead. Prepare me.
I'm a watcher. I haven't the skill.
Oh, come on.
By appealing to your common sense. Earwolves, incubi, succubi, everything you've ever dreaded was under your bed, but told yourself couldn't be by the light of day.
One gal in all the world.
Common sense.
One gal in all the world.
It was a bit, British, wasn't it?
Whee! Wait, what have we done? Why are we watching this?